The constant taking in of other people's words, images, lifestyles makes it extremely hard for you to thrive as yourself, to hear yourself and to hear your creativity and your uniqueness. It is crucial that we find intentional time to unplug. Hi, my loves. Hola, hola, hola. As you see, baby girl, I hope you've seen. I've posted it everywhere, so I hope that's not a big spoiler to you. So she will be seen regularly, okay? I plan on having this bump out all summer, all crop tops and bandeau tops, and I feel great about it. And today's bevvy of the day, I have been experiencing extreme dehydration this pregnancy. I did not experience this with my son, and I was doing a lot less then, so that could be a thing too. It was COVID. I was in the house a lot of the time, just taking walks. That was the most of my extracurricular activities. But I get dehydrated very easily, so I've been having to drink about 3 of my 40-ounce waters a day. My husband loves juicing, so he made me, I think this is pineapple, watermelon, kiwi, and celery juice. He made me one similar before, and we added a little cayenne for a little spice. Y'all know I love a little spice. That is what I'm drinking. Also, these are the flower arrangements that my best friend made for our gender reveal video. I just wanted to shout that out. She's amazing. So today's topic is one I hold very near and dear to my heart. I talk about it all the time. Making it a habit to consistently take breaks. Your body, your mind, your spirit, you need to give it a rest every so often. Being on go, 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 there's no way that you can truly be in touch with yourself when you are constantly moving. There's nothing that runs constantly. There's nothing that runs well constantly, I should say. Everything needs a break. Everything needs to stop and refuel and recharge. If you're driving a car and you don't stop and you don't get gas and you don't maintain it, the car will stop. It will not run. If you're on your phone and you never charge it up, it's going to die. And right now, this world is very, very loud, okay? There are opinions coming from every which way. As soon as you get on social media, there are contradicting opinions of everything, of how to have the best relationship and how to raise your child and how to be a woman in this world and what is a powerful woman and what is a weak woman. And there's just so many opinions and so much going on. And not to mention, we have like 3 or 4 platforms. There's Instagram, there's YouTube, there's TikTok. It's just so loud. And for someone like me who is introverted and I need time to myself, I need quiet to process my thoughts and to process things that have happened and what my next steps are. It's why I have to consistently take breaks. In order to show up as my best self, I've realized I need to stop feeling guilty about that. I need to schedule that regularly. That is the way that I will thrive. I notice that there's a lot of people who need that time and don't know that and don't acknowledge that. There are so many people who are on this hamster wheel of life and they're just constantly moving. I have friends and family that I see consistently on the phone, like day in and day out. And then I see those same people being unhappy with life and being unhappy with what's happening or what's not happening and what has changed or what hasn't. And I know that if I see that in my circle, that is something that is magnified across the world. I definitely see it in the younger generation and even my generation that has gotten hooked onto this new way of living. Now more than ever, it is crucial that we find intentional time to unplug. And if you are a person right now that has not been able to find your purpose, or you feel like your life is all over the place, your thoughts are all over the place, it's been really hard to like hone in, get focused, and do what you have to do. Unplugging and stepping away from everything has been the key to anything that I've gotten done. It's because I've taken time away and I stopped hearing people's opinions and seeing people's beautiful art. That's another thing, is that you're seeing amazing things. You're seeing people sharing life milestones and you're seeing people sharing their new businesses and the growth that they're having. But when you are constantly seeing what someone else is doing, it is really hard to hear yourself and to hear your creativity and your uniqueness. The constant taking in of other people's words, images, lifestyles makes it extremely hard for you to thrive as yourself. If you can look at all this consistently and you are still thriving and it fuels you, because I'm quite sure there are people that are just fueled by it. I'm somebody that loves to gain inspiration, but I also can feel when it's turning from inspiration to being overwhelmed, when it's going from like me being super happy and like I'm getting ideas, to, oh, I didn't do this and I'm not doing enough and damn, I meant to do that and I meant to. Once it starts being something that's almost like a comparison or starts making me think about what I'm not doing or what I need to do more of, what I need to add, then I know it's time for me to step away and take a break. All right. And I think a lot of people are in that space where they're not happy with what's going on in their lives, not happy with how life looks when you put the phone down. Right? How your relationships are, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about the way you show up in the world, your reactions to people, your career, whatever it is that you may not be feeling great about. It can feel like an escape to be on social media and to follow all the things that make you feel good or follow all the gossip and follow things that take your mind off of what's really happening in your life. And I know that a lot of people are so tuned in on social media because it really is an escape. You can watch people living beautiful lives and what we perceive as winning at life because we never really know what's going on behind the phone. I can tell you as an influencer that there's so much you do not see. One, because it's very hard to capture everything, but also because some people intentionally hide it. And some people like me, I'm super private. So there's moments that are just never going to make it to social media. And I'm very curated about what I do put out. So you just need to understand that some people are that way. And as much as it may look like, God, everything is put together, like she has this perfect life, everything is going right, and it feels like an escape for you, understand that everybody has their things they're getting over and you may not be able to see it physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I love that we have this time together because I hope that everything I share here lets you know that although you see the pretty picture, right? Although you see when I sit here, I'm made up and, you know, on Instagram, I share like milestones and tips and things like that. I hope that when we sit here and I share the true depth of healing and where I started versus where I am, I hope that that gives you insight that it doesn't matter what someone's life looks like. There's always things that people are working on, things that you cannot see, things that make all of that prettiness go away. None of that prettiness matters if I'm not okay here and if I'm not okay here. And there's a lot of people that are not doing okay on the inside, but everything on the outside looks beautiful. I say all that to say, it may look perfect and it may look like multiple people have it all together, but everybody's going through their things and growing and evolving, and they have their challenges as well. So don't think that you're alone in that, okay? But if this is you who is constantly comparing and feeling like that's your escape, and then when you're off the phone, it feels like life is just not measuring up to what you see on there. My first tip, of course, is don't compare and don't try to measure to what's on there. But you should feel good about your life. And there is a version of you that can live a life that feels good. But you have to do the work. And you have to get clear with yourself to understand what it is you want to see. You can't go after someone else's lifestyle. You can take inspiration, but you have to get clear on what feels good for you. I told you guys many times, I did that. I saw all the people having all the things, and then I got there and I was like, this is not it for me. I had to get really quiet in myself to see what was missing in that realm. And now I see that what I had, I could have tweaked it. It is exactly what I still want. I had to get clear on how I can get that in my own unique way. I didn't want it in the way that I seen it for other people. I thought I did, but I needed more for me. I needed this right here. This therapy, this time. My girl Shay Nicole said it best. This is like therapy. When I sit here with you guys, I heal. When I sit down to write down my script for these videos, I heal. There's so many things that come up, and I feel so good that I'm sharing it with you guys. And it is a form of healing for me. And I need this aspect in order to also enjoy the influencing and the sharing of like products and lifestyle tips. And I needed this aspect of it too. I need you guys to know that it is not just here's what I use and here's what I do for my kids and here's what I do for my skin. I need you to also know that underneath there's a lot going on, and that's the most important part to work on in order to even enjoy any of this. And I know that from experience now. And now I know the home and the car, I could have gotten all that. But if I did not do this inner work that has happened in the last year, I would have gotten there and crashed. And so, you know, God be Godding, right? God is like, I'm not going to let you get that thing that you have been working for and going after so hard. I'm not going to let you get there because you're going to lose it. You haven't done the work on the inside, and you're going to get there and you're not going to know what to do with it. You're going to be lost because you're not truly connected and you're not being truly authentic. So the card that I pulled today from my I'm Listening Self-Love Edition deck, I actually pulled two cards. The first one is, does the current state of my life feel good for me? And the second one is, how may I be getting in my own way of my ideal life? Let's talk about unplugging. So this is going to be different for everybody. How you decide to schedule your social media cleanses is going to be totally up to you. I realized it feels like a seasonal thing for me. It feels like every season I kind of need to reset. I need to see how I'm going into the next season. I like to schedule at least a week or two. 2 weeks feels really good for me. As y'all could see, this last time I took a break was like a couple months, but that was for totally different reasons. It was a lot that I just needed to sit with, but it felt good. It felt like I'm gonna listen to my body and I'm just gonna take this break. To be on this end of it where like I came out of it and I am pregnant with my baby girl, knowing that when I felt that pull to not work and not put out content, that I did not panic to see the result of it. What happens when I just like trust the universe and trust what I'm being called to do, to see what came out of it. I am like, words can't explain. Words cannot explain what happens when you start listening to yourself. Yes, it is a powerful thing. First step is we're going to schedule out our time to unplug, okay? This is going to take experience and time for you to realize how much time you need. And it's going to be hard when you first decide to put the phone down, log out. I wouldn't say delete your apps, unless you need that type of strict discipline. If you have to get it off your phone, then you do that. And it may be that in the beginning. For me, it's good enough to log out of my app, because even when I click onto the app, the fact that I'm not logged in, it reminds me, oh, you're doing a cleanse. The first week, my desire to open the app, I click on it so many times those first few days. I want to say at least the first week, but at least the first like 5 days, I am mindlessly going and clicking Instagram and YouTube. And again, that just tells me I'm spending way too much time just doom scrolling. And again, I get so much inspiration from it, but like I will close the app and go right back to it. I've done that so many times, and it just shows me how powerful it is. So that first week is going to be tough. It's going to feel like you keep having this urge or you're missing out on something. But here's what I do in that time. I take the time to brainstorm. Brainstorm all the things I've been saying I want to do. Brainstorm the thoughts that have been coming through. Just write and let things out and get all the ideas out, and all the things I've been saying I don't have time for. I like to list those out. And so you can just make this one big brainstorm, whether you write, whether you're writing this out or you're typing this out. I actually just bought a whiteboard because I wanted to see everything that I'm planning right now in front of me, and I wanted to physically write it out. So I got a whiteboard. So figuring out what works for you. It's not going to be a perfect practice when you first started, but I have learned to master what that is for me, and you will too. And so take this time to brainstorm. Do you feel like you don't have time for self-care, to take care of yourself, to take a bath, to, go get a massage or get your nails done, or time to read, time to journal? Something I'm still struggling with is my hobbies. Bringing in these hobbies and just making them a regular part of my day has been the toughest thing to do, because I love this and I love sitting down and brainstorming this, but I also have to break up my time because sometimes I want to do stuff where I don't have to use my brain so much, like painting and things like that. So think about that. Are those things that you feel like you don't have time for? Spending time with friends, spending time with your partner, more time with your kids, maybe attending their activities, whatever you feel like you're not getting enough of. Meal prepping, making juice, I don't know. Write all those things out so that when you feel that urge to go to Instagram, every time that you do, go back to that list. And what can you be working on? You were about to go scroll Instagram probably for about 30 minutes to an hour. You might be doing stuff in between, but what can you work on right now? Can you start meal prepping, or maybe at least planning your meals? Can you go journal? Can you go meditate? Can you paint? You will realize how much time you spend or how much time you waste on social media when you're away from it. And when you implement the discipline of every time that you try to open that app, do something productive for yourself. And it doesn't have to be work productive. It can be just household productive, self-care productive. Do something productive that you can be proud of. Maybe something, again, that you've been putting off for a long time. Spend some time doing that. See how that makes you feel over time. And even after your 2-week cleanse, you might realize that you just need to set limits on how long you're on social media. But this is all going to depend on you. And so that's your first step. Take that break and have the discipline of every time you try to open it, do something productive from your list of things that you've been trying to get to or that you haven't had enough time for. So the second thing that I do that kind of just started happening naturally when I'm trying to get clear on my thoughts, I take quiet car drives. So on my way to Pilates is about 25 to 30 minutes away from my house. I usually take morning classes, so it's like 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, and it's quiet. I keep my radio off. I don't put on an ebook. I don't put on music. And I say it happened naturally for me because I remember I would get in the car and try to do my automatic, like putting on music or a book, and I felt no desire to hear anything, no desire to listen to anything, and I listened to that. And I just kept it off, and I realized that that allowed me time to talk to myself, to hear my thoughts as I'm driving, to talk to God, to just talk out loud. I spend a lot of my time driving now just affirming myself and speaking into existence the woman that I want to be, the woman that I want to show up as consistently. I reflect on the things that I don't love, maybe a reaction I had to my son yesterday that I was not proud of, maybe a way that I treated, a loved one, or reacted to something, procrastination, and I didn't get done what I needed to because I chose not to. I do that going there and back. Actually, I would do it for the whole time that I'm unplugged. A lot of these last few months of me taking this break, my car drives were very, very quiet. Only very recently have I started putting the music on again. Haven't listened to ebooks because, again, I've been really tapped into like what I need to work on, and I don't want to take in anybody else's words right now. So books have been pushed to the side for right now, but I feel myself like coming back again, hence me being here and like having things to say. Once I get into that space where my creativity is flowing, now I need my Beyonce. Now I need my Victoria Monet. Now I need all my old school 90s good feels playlist. So I need those things now. Now I'm like, I'm in the mood. Like, I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm motivated. I need that music that keeps me uplifted. But when I am in those moments of trying to hear myself and trying to get to a next level or heal something or just to get back connected with myself, I need quiet. And so if you're a person that's constantly drowning out your thoughts, this tends to be a habit that happens across the board, right? If you are trying to avoid hearing certain things in yourself, fixing certain things, or doing the work, one, I'm going to say I get it. That's number one. Number one, you don't even have to explain that to me. I totally get it because this work is hard, right? Like doing any work of like listening to the parts of you that you need to change, figuring out what's the first steps to the business, or the first steps to healing this relationship. It's hard. It is hard, draining work. And that's the work that we tend to avoid. And we typically avoid that by drowning out. So when we get in the car, we automatically put on music, we put on a book, we put on a podcast, right? And that's what we're tuned into. And don't get me wrong, those things can help you through sometimes. But if you're not first clear on what you're trying to work on or what feels not so good in yourself or where you're trying to get to, take that time first and then start looking into books and podcasts that can help you. Because if you are doing this and you're spiraling, anything you hear will pull you in, will push you in a certain direction. You got to get clear on what you're looking for right now. What is missing? What is this feeling? What is this emptiness? Where is it coming from? And that's the heartbreak. That's the work that we try to avoid via listening to music and podcasts and books, or always spending our time with people, never being able to be alone, right? Spending all our time scrolling on social media, constantly commenting or conversing, or always watching movies, watching TV. We drown out and we avoid in many, many ways. And so just take a look at yourself, because it's not just a quiet car rides, right? It's whenever you can find time for yourself to be quiet. Are you doing that for yourself? Are you ever finding time of quietness to reflect? In the moments that you can find quiet time. Some of us have kids, multiple kids. Sometimes we don't have many car rides that are just us, right? But I also want to recommend doing what you need to do to get your kid occupied for a second and to have a moment to yourself. Evie, I just got him a tablet, and the only thing on it are these educational games called Tiny Tap. It's an app called Tiny Tap. And this month, my husband is very busy. He's gone, and it's me. And it's him. And so when I'm working, he's usually with him. And when he's working, it's me with him. I got him the tablet because on the days that Kevin's gone, there's still emails I have to do. There's sometimes editing I have to do. And so I'll let him have his tablet time while I'm on my laptop trying to get some things done. So I say all that to say, in the times that you need a moment, please do not feel guilty. Again, when we talk about the outside world being so loud and everyone screaming like screen time is terrible and screaming how to parent and how to be the best parent, look, find a balance. I think sitting your child in front of a screen all day long is not doing them any good. Giving your child an hour of screen time when you need a moment to shower, to meditate, to journal, to work, just a moment to like gather yourself, something you may need to get done that's going to make you feel just a little bit better. Use it in a way that works for you. If you're in the car and you can give them some screen time and just turn the music off and have a moment of quiet, then do that for yourself, okay? Find a way. There's always a way. We can make excuses or we can find a way. And I am all about finding a way. And I'm going to cry sometimes and I'm going to complain sometimes, but I'm going to get it done. And that's what I want us to get into the habit of doing. Like, there's always a way. Let's find a way. Stop listening to how everybody else is doing it because it may work for them and it doesn't work for you. It may work for you and it doesn't work for them. We have to find a way that works for us. And I think in the beginning of parenting, I felt really guilty about like screen time, and I felt guilty about leaving him to play by himself sometimes, or needing a moment to work, or sometimes giving him more screen time than I usually would. But every day is different. And what you do majority of the time is what's going to show up. And I know majority of the time I am doing my best to have a great schedule for him. I'm doing my best to, make sure he is doing things that's like stimulating his brain. I know that. And so on the days that I'm like, okay, this is a not normal circumstance, I need to get this done. Nobody's here. He's going to have more screen time today than usual. I'm a believer in most of your days being great and some days not being that great. It's okay. Like, finding that balance and being a human. Figure out the ways that can work for you and that feel best for you. Now, you guys know this is going to be my favorite step because meditation has been my best friend for about 10 to 12 years now. I can meditate for a good half hour to an hour. But when I first started, and even when I skip it for like a week, if I miss a few days, if I miss a few sessions, getting back into it, I have so many thoughts and it is hard to settle my mind down. When I first started meditating and having this idea that meditation means your mind is completely quiet and everything is so peaceful and birds are chirping and you have all positive thoughts. And I think that's the misconception of meditation. Meditation is often paired with like the super peaceful music and yoga, peaceful people. But I don't think the part of what it brings up for you is talked about enough. And so especially in the beginning when you're a beginner at meditation, or again, when you've taken some time away and you're not doing it on a daily and you try to get back to it, all of your thoughts rush in at once. And so if you've been a person that's been always just running away with your thoughts, meaning you think a thought and then you allow it to get you mad or angry or take you back to a space, or you allow that thought to take you away from whatever you was doing and distract you, and then you jump from thought to thought to thought to thought, and you're never really present. You're always in your head and you're always thinking, you're always anxious, if you're that person, getting into meditation is tough. That was me up until very recently. So again, when I would take time away and come back, all the thoughts that I hadn't allowed to process would just be there, and it would take me so much time to calm down. Because I thought it was supposed to be so peaceful, I thought I was doing it wrong, and I thought something was wrong with me. But here's what I figured out about meditation over these 10 years. It really is about seeing those thoughts come through, thinking those thoughts, and remembering that they are simply thoughts, okay? Not allowing yourself to get taken away by them and start reacting to them. And here's what I would say if this person did this to me and this just made me angry all over again. Or even the excitement of it. Like, there's a difference between visualization, where you see something and you're running away with it, right? You're getting into it. You're getting all the feelings. But meditation, the goal is to not allow outside things to determine the way you feel, the way you move, and the way you react. If you're anything like me, thoughts have ruined my day before. I could be having a good day and somebody responded to my text in a way that I didn't like. And now all of a sudden I'm like, ooh,
did I say something wrong? Did I say that the wrong way? Was I offensive? Or maybe they just feel some type of way about me. Maybe are they talking about me? You think they don't really like me? Wow, they're feeling some type of way about me.
And now that's sitting on my shoulder for the rest of the day. It doesn't matter what's going on. I could get my mind off it for a second, but it's sitting here and I'm like, wait, there's something I'm supposed to be worried about. Oh, okay, I gotta fix it. I don't know, I gotta talk to them. That's a thought that runs away. But you ever just, I don't know, you hear a song and it just brings up a thought of a bad memory, and now you're mad at your friend again, or you're mad at your man again, or you're mad at yourself, or you're embarrassed. You ever get embarrassed for something that happened like 10 years ago? Those are when thoughts are running your life. That's when your thoughts are in charge of your emotions and how you feel, how you react, because that does affect your day. It affects the way that you are interacting with your loved ones. It affects the way that you move through your day. And even if they are old thoughts or thoughts that don't even exist, your friend is probably busy. They gave you a short answer because they're busy. Doesn't mean that they're mad or angry, but you've let this thought have you run away with it, right? So point of meditation is to get in control of not allowing thoughts to determine your mood, your emotions, and how you act. The goal is to sit there, allow the thoughts to come, and just breathe through it. And let it pass. Don't give it reaction. Don't give it emotion. That's the hard part in the beginning. And this is what you learn to master. Because if you can learn to master this here, you take that out into the real world. And yes, it's a little harder when something you've always reacted to, when it actually happens in the real world, it's going to trigger you. But for me, what I've realized is that practice of doing that every day and seeing those thoughts and not reacting to them has translated to moments where I would normally react, just taking a deep breath and being like, I feel it building up. I know I want to react. I know I want to go there. It's not worth it. This random person on the street is not allowed to determine how I feel right now. That is what it comes down to. You being in control of you and not letting outside circumstances determine how you feel and how you move through the world. Meditation is a huge part of hearing yourself. And all it is just sitting quietly with yourself and allowing those thoughts to show you what's coming up and what's trying to come up. And sometimes it's weird, and sometimes it's dark, and sometimes it's not the best thing. And as I always say, if it's too much, reach out to a professional, to a therapist, to someone who can walk you through these things. Try and find ways to healthily process what's coming up for you. But I would say as these thoughts are coming up and as all these random instances are popping up, those are often things that are in our subconscious, things that we haven't yet dealt with or that we are still holding on to, or something that needs some type of resolve or letting go of. So I would say let yourself just have these thoughts. Do this for 5 to 10 minutes and then come out and write down all the things that came up for you. Expand on them. Maybe it's something you've been thinking about. Maybe it's something there that you've been putting to the side. Allow what comes out to come out. This is part of your shadow work, dealing with the things that maybe we've been pushing back and that are trying to come to the surface, but that we keep like ignoring or thinking it's not that big of a deal or like just downplaying. Don't do that to yourself. It could be the smallest thing, but if it needs to have your attention, if you need to have a conversation or something that needs to be addressed, whether that be in therapy or in journaling, or something that just needs to be released, something you've been holding on to that you need to heal from, go ahead and journal about it. Write it down. Get your thoughts out and all the feelings that come up with it, because these thoughts are not just popping up for anything. It's something that is on your mind. So whether it be good or it be bad, let's dive in and let's give those thoughts space and room. Start at that 5 minutes and then push yourself to 10 minutes. And when you get to 10 minutes and that feels easy, push yourself to 10 to 15 minutes. Don't feel the need to have to start out with a half hour or thinking longer is better. I think when you're just beginning, shorter is better, because in that longer span, more thoughts might come up. You might get more fidgety. And so until you feel comfortable with that 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or until you open your eyes and realize you've been sitting there for a half hour, because that's how it happened for me. I opened my eyes and realized that I had just been sitting there for a half hour and it had just become natural for me to do. So don't push yourself too hard. And what I also realized is once I got to that 10 to 15 minute mark, that's usually when all of it dies down. I think your brain starts to realize like, she's not reacting how she normally does. Why isn't she getting mad? Why isn't she like getting up to text somebody? Or why isn't she trying to escape? When these thoughts come up, she'll do something, but she's not doing that. Why? I think your brain starts to realize you're no longer going to just respond to these thoughts. It's no longer in control. And the more that you do that, you get to that 10 to 15 minute mark. And for me, that's my sweet spot. Letting those thoughts go for 10 to 15 minutes. All of a sudden, I feel this calmness, this sereneness come over me because I'm not reacting. And now my body and my brain is relaxing. It's giving up the fight of like making me pump this adrenaline that usually happens. Once it realizes over time that you're not doing that anymore, it starts to cooperate with you. It's magic, but it happens. I think a lot of people avoid meditation because they believe, again, that you are supposed to just have this clear mind right from the beginning, and that's not it. So I'm here to give you that pass, to let you know that it is normal to have all these crazy thoughts. And actually, it is a part of the process that none of us can avoid. Not the most peaceful person. We all have thoughts that are going through our head. So mastering the art of not automatically responding to that or running with that thought is going to be your homework. And now that you've been doing all of this and you're listening to yourself and you're allowing these things to come up, I want you to take full advantage of the moments that you feel things coming through you. Anytime that you get any type of idea or inspiration that's really pulling you, take time to document that and be detailed. Be so detailed. A lot of times in meditation and in these quiet moments, when you have these thoughts, especially in meditation with your eyes closed, you usually can feel it, you can smell it, or you hear a sound or a song or you see a color. Like, be as detailed as possible. Where do you see this thing happening, or how did it come through? What did it look like? Write down as many details as you can. I don't think finding our purpose or the things that we love to do, because I think the things that we love to do is leading us to our purpose. I don't always feel like our purpose is this like one-liner. I feel like sometimes it is a plethora of things. It is all the things that you feel driven to do right now. And sometimes we miss it because we feel driven to do something, but we're asking so many questions, right? Like, we don't think it makes sense. It doesn't make sense to us. This is the biggest culprit that a lot of us don't talk about, but we've been this person in our friend group. We've been this person around our friends and family. Maybe we've been dressing this way our entire lives, or had this hairstyle. You can't cut your hair all off because your family will make fun of you. Like, a lot of us can't be who we truly want to be and do the things we truly want to do because we are so worried. It's not always about just what people think. We say people, and it sounds like we're talking about the world, but a lot of times we're talking about the people that know us. We're often scared to be who we truly are around the people that have known us in that way. It's like we're embarrassed to be doing something different. And I just want you to allow what's coming through to come through and sit with that. Again, I don't believe it's hard for us to know what we want to do or what our purpose is. I think it's hard for us to actually do those things, to not be embarrassed, to not be afraid, to not think about what people are going to think about. This is your life. You have one life. Why are you worried about what they think? And so often, the people that we're worried about are not doing half of what we want to do in life. Often the people that we're worried about are not who we want to be internally, spiritually. They are not where we want to be financially. They are not where we want to be in careers. They're not doing what we want to do. They're not leading the life that we want to. And not to say that someone who is along those lines has more say, but at least they are on the path of something that you are working towards. I know for me, a lot of the times, the people that I hear the voice of the most often are just not anywhere near where I'm trying to go. So many times I've had to go against that. I've had to hear that voice. I've had to hear that fear and do it anyway, and then deal with the embarrassment. Except before, I was doing it with my mental eyes closed, with my spiritual eyes closed, just like, oh, let me do this, and I don't want to hear what people have to say. And now I feel like I'm in a space of doing it and enjoying it, doing whatever the thing is and like owning it. Like, yeah, this is who I am. This is where I am. I just want this sense of freedom for each and every one of you. And it only comes with doing those things that you are fearful of doing, hearing these thoughts come through and these big ideas, this pull for what you are meant to do, feeling that come through and taking action on it. I want peace and freedom for you. And it starts by resetting, recharging, getting away from the noise, hearing yourself, envisioning the life that feels great for you. Whatever fills you, make sure you're doing that in the process and just listening to what truly lights your soul up. I'm not going to sit here and tell you don't worry about the money and don't worry about that brings freedom. That brings a sense of freedom to be able to do a lot of things. I understand that. But that alone is not going to fix the things. That alone is not your purpose. What you plan to do with that money, what you plan to do when you get there. Life is not just sitting down and doing nothing. We want to do things. We do. We don't want to be doing what we don't want to be doing though, right? So that's why we feel so drained when we're working at a job we don't need to be working at. That's why we feel so drained when we're doing things that are not really fulfilling our souls. But when you get in alignment with what you are meant for, you have so much energy and you have a vitality that makes you want to live a full life. I truly hope that you implement these things because these are ways that I have learned to hear myself. And as someone who constantly compared and someone who was constantly looking for validation, this is something that helped me to heal and helped me to trust my voice and trust my vision and trust what's coming through for me uniquely. if you like this video, make sure that you hit the thumbs up, that you subscribe, and that you turn on your notifications so you don't miss any new uploads. We have a lot coming. I am excited, and I just can't wait for us to just continue peeling back these layers and just becoming the most beautiful versions of ourselves, recommitting over and over, revisiting lessons that we had before, because who you are right now, with the few things you've healed over the last year or few months, you're gonna see this differently. You're gonna apply this differently. I'm happy for us. So until next time, keep living in love, in light, and in your truth. Mwah. Bye.